4, 3, 2, 1. People of the world, hello and welcome to Marketing as a Foreign Language, episode 208. Everyone knows that I don't believe in coincidences. I don't. Every single guest that we've had on the show has been incredible. Very happy with the quality of the folks. Our guest today, born in England, but didn't stay there very long. Ended up in Germany, a little bit of Holland, a little bit of this, a little bit of that. And as you know, we're all about that life story here on Marketing as a Foreign Language. And Jeremy Haug, at a very young and tender age, was with his mother. His parents got divorced, and she let him go. And he went to the United States to live with his father, who I want to say was also in software, but Jeremy will correct me if I'm wrong on that. Ended up becoming the COO for a healthcare consulting company. But this idea, again, you know, I got kiddos. I got 2 kiddos, girl, boy. And Jeremy recently, via Facebook, reached back out to his mom, and they're starting just that little kind of post here. And I think he liked her on accident or something like that. Just saw her in that Facebook feed. So point being wow, there's a lot to that. There is a lot to that. So when we talk about the entrepreneurial journey, we talk about evolving as a human being, this incredible narrative of the life experience that I already know. We're going to get some interesting stories from Mr. Haug. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the show. Put your virtual hands together. Jeremy Haug, let's go.
Woo! There we go. I'm excited, man.
I'm just saying. So you backstage were telling me that your mom was from Holland?
Correct. Yeah, my mom's from Holland. My dad's from Germany. They met in England, and that's where I was born. So, interestingly enough, I am not a British citizen. So England is not like America. If you're born there, you're not a citizen of that country. Yeah. And then they went back to Germany because that's where my dad was from, and then my mom's from Holland. And like you mentioned, they got divorced. So I was in Holland for a little bit. It was interesting. My dad always told me I was only a German citizen. But I was like, oh, I wonder if I could ever be a Dutch citizen. And so I was getting my passport renewed recently, and I was going through the paperwork. As an adult, you have all these paperwork. I don't know if you have this, but my parents like, okay, here's your birth certificate. Here's all the important paperwork you should never lose. And I was going through it, and I was like, oh, is this a Dutch passport? And I found out I have Dutch citizenship, which I thought was kind of wild to figure that out at the age of 30, that I'm like, oh, okay, I'm already a dual citizen of 2 countries.
Wow, that's pretty incredible. So you were the COO of a healthcare consulting company. When you started, there were like 3 employees, right?
Yeah, I was employee number 3, and basically what we were doing is we were helping chiropractors. So we were in the sort of the natural healthcare field, and we were teaching them how to open up medical offices. Because what we found was that, I don't know if you know this, but there's a big rivalry in healthcare between chiropractors and everybody else, right? Chiropractors say, the medical doctors are only there to drug you. Medical doctors say chiropractors are quack, and all that kind of stuff. But what's interesting is that's sort of the PR. That's sort of like, that's the story out there. That's like the AMA and whatever else is out there. But when you get down to it, they're actually willing to work together, because I think 30 years ago, there was some law that got overturned that said medical doctors and chiropractors could actually work together. And so the business model that we taught was, okay, look, chiropractor, you serve only people who really want chiropractic. But if you're a medical office, everybody comes in the door, right? You go to a medical doctor to tell you, look, you need this, and you just kind of go do it. I don't know if that's a good thing, but that is the way they've positioned themselves. And, so what we were teaching is like, look, open up a medical office, make it a holistic, natural medical office, and, compliant, legal, and good for the patient. And it actually made it so that more people were actually able to discover chiropractic. And then a couple years in, sort of the stem cell revolution kind of came about and kind of hit us, and we were like very well positioned for it because our medical offices, they were basically targeting physical injury, or physical arthritis, osteoarthritis, and
Mm-hmm.
stem cell was, which is now, you can't really say stem cell in marketing anymore. You now have to say either regenerative medicine or human cellular and tissue products.
Okay.
You I don't know, whatever. It's just the thing in that industry. And then so that really blew us up, and really got us. It expanded us a lot, gave our clients a lot more services, a lot more revenue in that area.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, last 3 years, or last 4 years, I guess now, hit the Inc. 5000 list.
That's incredible. Truly incredible. And then you jettisoned from that into your marketing agency, but we're not going to talk about that right now. What we want to do is we want to go back. So here's the thing. So as I mentioned, and the folks that watch the show on the regular know, that there's a term from Malcolm Gladwell called imminent orphan that you may or may not have heard before, but it refers to people that grow up without both parents in the household, and how it molds them and changes them, and there's a grit, or there is just a beatdown that tends to happen, or both, of those sorts of people. And your story in particular reminds me of a narrative where you've had to not only adapt to a very, I don't know, call it volatile, but definitely big changes. Big changes. Like, yeah, you were really young when you were in England, and then the European thing, but then big shift to America, right? And then living just with your dad. And the fact that only very recently you've reached back out to your mom, to me, shows a lot of ability to adapt. So would you argue that you, more than the average bear, have the ability to adapt to new situations that other people might find uncomfortable, or more uncomfortable than you do?
I think so. I mean, I think I missed out telling you my dad did get remarried. So I have a stepmom from, I don't know, I guess they got married when I was about 8 years old, 7, 8 years old. And then, so I had my dad and my stepmom, which I think gives you, its own challenges. I think in both directions. Being older now, I'm able to look back and go, wow, I was a little, I don't know if we can swear on this podcast or not. So I'm just going to not swear. So, I was not respectful, wasn't really my thing. And she wasn't my mom, and whatever, all the
So you
struggles
did.
of,
So you did the whole thing. You did that. That's not my mom. The whole 9 yards.
well, it was both flows. It was interesting because I called her mom for a while and then she asked me not to. Uh,
What? Why would she do that?
Whatever. We were not in a good place at the time.
I
You
don't
know?
get it. I don't get that, dude. If some kid wanted to call me dad, I'd be like, "Let's go." Like, cool,
Let's
dude.
roll. Let's roll. Anyways, whatever. We're in a much better place now where we're, friendly and everything else like that. And,
Right.
I love, my dad and my stepmom had two kids and I love them. They're like my brother, my sister. It's like we're all in this together. So, but to answer your question, I think so. I feel like it was funny because my dad made the joke of like, look, uh, like we move every 5 years, right? That's the longest, or every 2, 3 years, right? Because at one, I moved from England to Germany, then moved to Germany to Holland, and Holland back to Germany, different place in Germany, then to Virginia, different place, and then down to Florida.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So I think so. I feel like uh, being able to adapt to change is one of those things. Like our family mantra is things change, right? Like that is the
Mm-hmm.
only stable datum in life, is like nothing stays the same ever. So might as well be able to handle that and be able to adapt and go, okay, good, man, I'm going to take advantage of this new circumstance and make the most of it.
Yeah, I mean, starting a new company is exactly that. It's just like moving.
That's terrifying.
Yeah, you get in there, like, who are these people, and first impressions, and getting used to the environment. And then, your ability to be comfortable in that sort of thing that's really important. But let's talk a little bit about the "You're Not My Mom." Let's dive into that a little bit. So you're really young, because here's my thing. Owners of companies, in my experience, are not type A, straight A, follow all the rules people, in my experience. Those people tend to be the presidents of companies. Those people tend to, do really well in corporate America. They can be like an attorney, that whatever. But the people that tend to be the entrepreneurs are folks that are like, yeah, no, I'm not doing that kind of people. Maybe like B's, A's, but it's not the end of the world. There's not like I would say a healthy disrespect for authority that isn't earned. I would put it that way. I've noticed a through line of that sort of thing of like, you know what? I'm gonna go ahead and do this myself. Like I've seen the way other people do it. Yeah, I appreciate it, whatever. So to what degree would you say you want to do it yourself because authority figures in your life, you've looked at them and gone, yeah, I can at least do that good?
Yeah, it's funny because I think sometimes you meet your mentors or people or, it was interesting for me is like, I was in this startup and I didn't have any equity. I was just an employee there, but I was like, and I learned a lot, right? Like, and every year I grew, but at a certain point I was like, okay, well, what else do these people know that I don't know? That they're building this $1 million business. And, it's like, and then I saw them learning from others and I'm like, cool, well, I could just go learn from that person and go do it myself or whatever else. I mean, for me, a part of it has always been like when we came to America, my dad told me a couple different things that really stuck around for me. One is, look, America's the land of opportunity, where if you don't work, you die, which, at 8 years old, that's kind of intense. I don't remember if he said it at age, but that's when we came over. And that's sort of what sticks in my head. And for me, it was not a bad thing. For me, it was like, oh my God, there's no upward limit like there is in Germany. And I realize that's an exaggeration, right? There is a limit at some point here, as I'm sure Jeff Bezos will figure out at some point that there is a limit to his infinite wealth. But there's also the other thing my dad told me is like, look, the only job you'll ever get where there is no cap, where no one will ever stop you, is your own business.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you get really good as an employee, somebody will cap you out. It just does not matter what job you get. Somebody else is paying you and they're not going to keep paying you more, right? Like you're just going to cap out. So for me, it's been it's interesting. I've always had the idea that there's always a better way to do something. For me, I kind of labeled that German efficiency, right? Like I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
oh, there's always got to be a better way to do it, a faster way to do it, a better impact, a better result. And I mean, I did pretty good at school. I got really lucky. I went to a school where you kind of got to go on your own pace. So, I mean, like in school these days, I mean, really in any public school, it's you've got the fastest kid and the slowest kid are in the same room and the teacher's got to teach them all. And you're really just held back by the slowest kid in the room. And, not that everybody's fast at everything or slow at everything, right? So one day you might be the fastest, the next day you might be the slowest, and kind of depends. But the school I went to, I was 15 years old and I was like, I'm ready to be done with school, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
I want to go get a job. I want to go make money. And luckily at the school I was at, I was able to finish 10th, 11th, and 12th grade in one year. It took me about 9 months, and I was just like done, done, done. Got my high school degree, and I was like, cool. I'm 16 now. I can go get a job, which I did. And then funnily enough, I worked at the school I graduated from. But that's a whole other story, I guess. But
Yeah. So pause.
sorry, gave you a
So,
lot there.
nah, dude, trust me, I always got to pull my guests back. We got to pull it back. No, it's great. So yeah, Eminent Orphan written all over it, it's, yeah, graduating at 16, very rare. Now you had an opportunity. I get that. So, but wouldn't have happened if you didn't buckle down to just do it. And then this desire to make money from an early age, land of opportunity. Do you remember living with your mom in Germany, Holland, wherever that was? Do you have any memories of,
I have
of
a
that?
couple memories of her, yeah, of living there. Not many, but like I mean, I remember the house, and I remember playing with cars outside and it being sunny. That's sort of the instant image that comes to mind.
Right. And then when you left, when she decided, which, I don't know your mom. I don't know this story. I don't know her. But I can just tell you as a parent that just stick a knife in my heart a million times. a million times, and not just the moment where you're like, bye, child, but for the rest of your life. Just like a dagger in the heart for the rest of my life if I had to go anywhere near to that. So I don't know with her, was it a drug issue? Was it a financial issue? Like what why couldn't she hold it together? What was the issue there?
Look, I think what my what I've been told, and again, I was very young at that point, so it's just a lot of depression, ups and downs, and just that kind of stuff. And for me, at the end of the day, I look at this and I go, I have to look at it positively
Right.
because I don't want to look at it any other way. As I go, look, I love my dad. My dad's an amazing being and person, and I wouldn't have wanted to miss out on that relationship.
Right.
Plus, I got to get to America. Like maybe I could have come here anyways, but I think at the end of the day, she made the best choice, which I'm
Right.
sure that's an impossibly difficult choice to make. But the
Right.
fact that she made the right choice, I'm really grateful for that,
Oh,
that she
for
was able to,
sure.
you
You
know,
you know DMX, right?
yeah.
Yeah, so he died. He OD'd recently, and he has a lyric that says, "To live is to suffer, to survive is to find meaning in the suffering."
Mm, that's that's a good lyric right there. That's a deep one.
So that, that's what we all do. We all do that. We all look at our lives and go, my dad died when I was 2. Like, okay. Like, and away we go, like, welcome to the incarnation. Let's go. Um,
Yeah.
and so the reason I mention it is because at the end of the day, I find that uncovering these items, these little treasures in your mind will help you. So not only if you have kids, they watch this interview, they see some realness, right, about who you were and what you went through, but also people in 2021 are craving actual conversations that aren't just, well, you know what, you really just got to have a lot of patience. If you're going to start your business, Jeremy, what you got to do is, you got to focus. You got to wake up. You got to say, I'm going to do this. Like, shut up. Just shut up. Shut up. Shut your hole. What is actually happening? What is at the root cause of the success of individuals? Okay. So by any measure, 30 years old, graduated at 16, pretty rough go at it in terms of, not white picket fence to two-parent household sort of vibe. That is not what transpired. The reason I wanted to dive into the thing with your mom is I feel like psychologically you must look at success as like what your father mentioned to you. It's like do it or die. It's like a do or die. You know what I'm saying? So it just seems to me like she didn't have it enough to keep you, right? Whether that's mentally or just the focus or whatever it is. And it just feels like you're dead set on not repeating that, on being okay financially and focused on that sort of thing. Is there any truth to what I'm saying?
Yeah, I guess, look, I don't know about the psychology of it. I guess I look at it and I think, there's a natural part of who you are, right? And then your environment that shapes you for sure. So, you know, uh, trying to figure out what happened when I was 3, 4 years old with my parents. I think for me, I look at it as my dad was the influence, the person I was around. And, he always strove to become better, become the best version of himself. I think that's, whether that's from a personal health perspective, personal fitness, spiritually, work wise. I think for me, becoming the best you can be is part of the meaning of life, right? I think, I've heard stories or those examples of like, look, if you could meet the most potential, like if you had fulfilled your potential at the end of your life and you met that person, if compared to what you're doing, what would that meeting look like? And that can terrify you because you're like, oh my God, what is the impact I could have had if I pushed, if I strove, if I grew, right, and took those opportunities. And there's both a positive and negative, right? Like from a positive perspective, it should drive you to do more, right? Like the intention isn't to upset you or make you feel bad about yourself or what you're doing. You just go, okay, good, I'm here right now. How can I get a little bit better? How can I improve? And how can I achieve that next level of success on a personal level or on a group level, on a humanity level, right? I look at it, I think we each have our own sphere of influence. Like as a kid, we really can just influence ourselves, right? We're learning to control our bodies, learning to create relationships, creating a relationship with your family, and then as we get older, we kind of expand those relationships out into various groups, and then as an adult, we almost kind of start over because we kind of go out and we have to create our own family and then our own group in a new unit of time. And I think for me, I've seen that I've had to grow myself and learn my own weaknesses and kind of overcome it. Like for me, I was a huge gamer, right? Like huge video games. I mean, I loved it. If I look at my Steam account, there's probably too many thousands of hours on various games, and I look at that and I'm like, wow, that was a lot of fun. But was that the meaning? Is that the meaning, the value that I should bring to in my life? And I go, well, no, I enjoy it. It's definitely it's all good. Everybody has the right to have
Yeah,
fun,
but maybe not anymore, I would say.
right?
Right. So for me, like I'm sitting there playing Battletoads with my son, and like, dude, my thumb hurts, man. I'm old, well, not old. I'm 37. But it's like it just doesn't feel the same. Does that make any
Yeah,
sense? It's like wringing that rag dry. It's like where like there's so much joy you can get out of it, but as you evolve as a human being, the game changes. The game I want to play is a human game,
yes.
right? So
Yeah, I
I'm
look at it like I'm playing Sims. Why should I play Sims if I can just play the game of life, right? Like, I'm like, man, I'm crushing it at Sims. I'm moving up the career, making tons of money. I'm like, why don't I go spend the hours that I play Sims in real life and go do it for real, right? And go have
right,
a real impact and go
right,
donate money to charity and go improve the quality of life for humanity by going, wow, let me create amazing products or help others who are creating amazing products and make a real impact. I think that takes time to get to that point, right? I think it depends on who you surround yourself with. If you surround yourself with people who are just like, oh yeah, job's good, that's normal, that's the way to do things, or average is okay, or don't work too hard, or drink alcohol, or whatever, smoke weed, and that's cool, and we're just chilling. I mean, I don't know. It's like, what positive impact? Like, what is the value that you bring to people when you're doing that? I mean, for me, it was interesting, and maybe this is just me. My dad explained to me at one point, it was like, look, coffee, and I'm probably going to offend half your audience at this point, if not all of them. But
go
they
ahead,
said,
offend them.
okay, good. Well, my dad told me, it's like, look, coffee wakes you up and it dehydrates your body, right? I was like, okay, good. And it can get pretty expensive. I was like, okay, so I'm going to drink coffee because I'm tired, because my body's naturally tired because I either didn't rest enough or I wasn't eating the right nutrition. So my
Yep.
body's giving me an indicator of, Jeremy, you should rest, you should go to sleep. And so I'm going to suppress that symptom, suppress my body. I'm going to spend money on it, and then I'm gonna have to drink more water to make up for it. And long term, it's probably going to cause me health problems. So I was like, nope, I'm skipping it. I'm just going to skip that entire area. I'm never drinking coffee. So I did. I haven't really ever drunk coffee. I never got into it. Same
It's
thing with cigarettes. I was like,
it is
why
oh
do I pay to give
yeah,
myself cancer?
it's fascinating stuff. It really is. Shout out to Lillian who writes, that's a great viewpoint. Jeremy, I've always believed that there's nature, nurture, and then sheer will. Lillian and I know a thing or two about sheer will. So I recently stopped all caffeine. Right, I'm a big tea drinker.
Good job.
My little teapot. Yes, it is everything you would want in a teapot and more. But what I was finding is, I'm going through a rough patch in my life. It's winter, if you want to think of it that way. Like the season is winter.
Mhm.
And I'm like, I'm going to tackle this sober, like sober, sober, no alcohol, no vape pen, no tea, no coffee, water, right? Water's going down the pipe because I really want to experience it. And just, one of the biggest mistakes I ever made was when my mom died. I tightened my heart. I was like, okay, just, it's like I wept at like the funeral, but I should have been weeping for like 3 months, dude. I should have been every day crying, bawling and bawling and bawling, and finding things that would make me cry. You know what I mean? I should have been really opening up my heart that entire time. And it took me over 10 years for it to 10 years, right?
Wow.
And 10 years of dysfunction and 10 years of drama and 10 years of this and that and suppressing it and trying to be Zen and trying to be, you know what I mean? And I'll just meditate and I'll just do this, and all this external stuff. When inside of me, it was just rotting, dude, rotting. And then, so I cut the meat out. Dude, I'm like a monk. I eat fruits and vegetables. I drink water. That's the whole of it. Right? Like, welcome to my entire life. Like no dairy. And it's crazy, dude, what I'm doing right now. But it's to really open your heart. I think I had an employee who lost some people. Dude, I was right there with her, teared up. Just teared up. I'm like, your family, if there's anything we can do for you. And that mentality only comes by investing in tears. It's like you're being irrigated, for laying the seeds of the future. And so I talk about this stuff on the show all the time, and it doesn't seem entrepreneurial. It seems like we should be talking about what's working on your Instagram, or how did you get your clients, Jeremy? Let's talk about how you networked. And oh yeah, you're going to do a certain model where you get paid per leads and all this sort of stuff. But the internet is filled with that stuff to the brim. I mean, if you want to go find that, there are plenty of shows for you. But here, I feel like marketing, or that your life story is a foreign language, right? And you have to learn it, and it takes time to learn it. And you have to have deep conversations about it, which is why we want you back. Now, it is 10:57, which means we only have 3 minutes. We always give time at the end of the episode for you to be a selfish capitalist, because we live in this particular environment. This is the reality of the situation. So why don't you tell the fine folks where they can reach out to you, how they can reach out to you?
Sure. Good. So Jeremy at b2bbusinessexperts.com, or the website is b2bbusinessexperts.com. I've got a little free ebook. You can either check it on the website, or I have a bit.ly/Jeremy guide. That's bit.ly/Jeremy guide, bit.ly/Jeremy guide. As we all know, you have to say things 3 times for people to remember. So I figure I'd just do it repetitively right there. I don't know. There you go. There's my spiel. I don't know. If you need B2B marketing, that's sort of my focus. If you're looking for more patient, I think that's more of your thing. So I'm good with that. I'm really focused on, if you're a business targeting other businesses, I'd love to help and love to connect. For me, it's all about how can I add value. And I think, maybe we'll talk about this next time. The reason I've been so successful in a short period of time is because I look how I can over deliver. For the last 10 years, I feel like I've over delivered in every job I've done, in the relationships. So now that I'm starting my own business, it's coming back to me, right? It's that whole, like, you put good things out there for a long time. It's not like, oh man, I felt good today, things are going to come back to me. It's, you got to be good and over deliver continuously, and then eventually people will know that, hey, this is a person that means what he says. You can trust him, and he'll over deliver.
Yeah, I mean, and again, we know that Jeremy graduated at 16. Come on. He's been through a lot, right? He's been through a lot. And when we hire someone, especially like an agency like Jeremy's, that's what you're hiring. I mean, you're hiring the backstory. You're hiring what someone has gone through. You're hiring the trials that they have gone through, and overcome. So you should do that. You should hire Jeremy. Ladies and gentlemen, marketing as a foreign language, 10:30 a.m. Pacific Standard Time every single Monday through Friday. Why don't you join us for the live show? If, like most folks, you aren't joining us for the live show, we still love you. We're still proud of you. iTunes, Spotify, and the other podcast platforms might be some of the places you see us, but you can also swing by youtube.com/SendItRising. Watch there. Please do hit the like button and subscribe. Final word from Mr. Haug.
Thank you. I appreciate you having me on. And man, I look forward to touching base in a couple of months and giving you an update and diving deeper, man. I love the way you do your show.
Awesome. All right.